life is relational. It's not transactional. You need to give before you get. I never come to a lunch saying, what am I going to get today? It's really, who can I help today? A plus benefit that I get from EANYC is definitely the camaraderie. I didn't expect to develop the friends that I've developed in the organization. We're there for each other, and I really appreciate that.
So we're doing an interview here with another amazing Executives Association member, Mitch Brill. Mitch, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me.
So please tell us your name, your company name, your role, and what you do for a living.
Okay. My name is Mitch Brill. The name of my company is Altium Wealth Management. My role is business development and planning, and that's what I do for a living. So we help people, families, businesses make better, more efficient financial decisions.
What problems do you solve for your current customers right now?
The problems that we solve for our current customers are really all about their problems. So it's, how do I make better financial decisions? It's, this is what I want to do. What's the best way to do it? Things like that. We really help them be more efficient in their decision making.
Who would you say is your most ideal client?
So my most ideal clients are, I'll put them in three different categories. The first category is business owners who have an illiquid asset and they're at some point in their life, or perhaps after, unfortunately, they'll have to transact with that business. So we help them be more efficient, build the value of their business, and make better decisions around the business and a potential transaction, whether it's getting it to their kids or getting it to a third party or getting it to the employees. So that's the first group. The second group is real estate families, and really for a lot of the same reasons. They have an illiquid asset that they want to either transact with or get to the next generation. They'd like to pay as little taxes as possible, and we help them design those strategies. And then the final group of people that we tend to work best with are high net worth, high income individuals who don't have time to do their own planning. And that's where we step in and help them actually do the plan.
That's wonderful. Are there industries that you particularly focus on right now?
So at Altium, we're really industry agnostic. In a lot of respects, business is business. Families are families, and high net worth people are high net worth people. So it doesn't really matter to us necessarily what industries people come from that they need help. So we're really industry agnostic.
In terms of like something a little more personal about yourself that maybe you want other members of Executives Association to know about you, or other people networking that they can know about you, what's a hobby or a passion or something that people can get to know you on a deeper level?
So I have a wife and 3 kids. That's really my hobby and passion. And that's where I focus most of my energy. I'm bad at golf. I do that once in a while. I enjoy working out in sports and things like that. But I would tell you that my driver, my purpose is helping people. And that's probably what my family would tell you as well. But that really is the thing that gives me energy and power. When I can help people find a better way to do something, that's enjoyable for me. And I also get something out of it.
Finding a better way is definitely a popular why. There's a book called The Why Engine, and he talks about the 9 different whys. So it sounds like you found your why. What would you say is the first time you heard about EANYC, and what made your decision to join the Executives Association?
So it's funny, in terms of joining EANYC and how I first heard about it, my story is a little different than most. My father was a member of EANYC back in the 90s. In fact, he's a past president. He was president, I think, in 91. So I grew up in EANYC. In fact, when I had my entrance interview, I remember Paul Noon was in the room, and at some point, Paul asked me if I had any questions, and I said no, and he was a little taken back, and I said, I kind of grew up in your organization. I know how it works. And at that point, he realized, because Paul knew my dad. So EANYC, I would tell you, is sort of in my blood. And I'm really thankful to Larry Weiss, who one day, we were talking and he said, you really should come to a meeting. And I said, I'd love to. And he invited me as a guest and I was hooked. It's a great room. I love the people there. And like I said, I grew up in the organization and it's a great organization.
How long have you been a member, and what was the most impactful experiences that you've had so far?
So in terms of how long I've been a member of execs, I know it's over 5 years because I have 1 star. I don't know how much over the 5 years it is, but I would tell you I've enjoyed every minute of it. COVID was challenging, but execs made it less challenging. In terms of the most impactful moment, I can't point to one because every time we get together and we're sharing ideas and business and things like that, they're all great lunches or social events, things like that. And it's really just been a great experience. I really enjoy the camaraderie. I enjoy staying in touch with the people in the organization. And it's just been a fantastic experience for me.
Who is your ideal center of influence within Executives Association? Who are the people that are in the position to refer the most business to you and support you?
So in terms of people who support my business, it comes from all over. I would tell you that accountants certainly help my business because they deal with clients on a financial level. But a lot of my business comes from referrals, but it also comes from people who listen to their clients or friends with a different ear, because people talk about financial issues and problems all the time, and understanding that, oh my God, that's something I can help someone with goes a long way. And I'll give you an example. When I first got into the business, I was on at a friend's party on a deck, right? So we're hanging out on the deck and people were talking about how they should treat something as simple as how they should treat their mortgages and what makes a good mortgage or a bad mortgage or how long they should take the mortgage for. And I was just listening to this conversation. And at some point, got to ask some questions that the people who I was listening to hadn't really thought about. See, we're kind of trained by our parents and society to react in different ways to different financial questions. Those things aren't always true, or the way we typically would react to them aren't always true. So I found that if I can listen with a different ear and ask some more questions, I can then help people break out of these things that they thought were true but aren't really true. And then using our methodology and our planning process, we can prove that. So I guess this is a long way of answering the question of who's my best center of influence. And the answer is anyone who has a financial issue or knows someone who has a financial issue, good or bad, we can help those people. So it comes from anyone. Everyone deals with financial stuff when they're just being people in society or business owners.
I love that. One of the ways that people want to refer business to you is if they kind of get to know you a little personally. You mentioned about your family and how important it is. Can you speak more about your family? Tell us about your kids. Tell us about your home life. Tell us about you. Yeah.
I have an amazing wife. Her name's Robin. We have 3 kids. We have Morgan, who's 30 and married and recently got married. So I'm hoping that one day I get to be in the grandparent club. My next child is Mia. She's 28. She lives in Brooklyn. My oldest lives in Silver Spring, Maryland. My middle one lives in Brooklyn, which is great because she used to live in Seattle. And then my son lives in Austin, Texas, and he's 25. So that's my family, and that's who I do what I do for.
Wow, that's beautiful. If you can describe EANYC in one sentence, what would you say to a peer, somebody else that you consider a peer, maybe somebody else in Vistage or something? How would you describe EANYC in one sentence?
I need to think about that, but I think I would start with EANYC is a powerful group of people that gets together and helps each other.
When I think about EANYC, I think how it's different than EO and Vistage and YPO. And I think to myself, it's like a place where people come to get business done through trusted relationships. Not a place where you're coming to learn about business, although you do end up learning a lot about business.
Right.
It's a place where you actually come to like refer business to each other and get business done. That's the way that I view it. In terms of like the most valuable part of the membership, what would you say for you is the most valuable part of being a member of EANYC?
The most valuable part of being a member of EANYC is the people people that are in the group. And it's interesting because when I first joined EANYC, I thought all it was a networking group that shared business. And it's so much more than that because everyone, it seems, is there to help each other. And we all get better by helping each other. And it's just such a great group of people.
Yeah, it's true. It's also hard to access a room like that with the types of caliber of people that are in the room. You know, some of the people are lawyers, trusted advisors, CEOs, executives. Some of them have thousands of employees. What's interesting is that having lunch on a regular basis with a group like that is really a powerful thing to be able to do that most people don't even have the opportunity. You meet with your clients, but walking into a room like that or going on a boat ride with them or whatever it is that we do together to hang out is a really powerful and impactful thing. Can you share an example of a connection or referral from EANYC that had made a meaningful impact in your business?
We've helped so many businesses that came out of EANYC. Yeah, I'll share one. Remember, what I said before is that my purpose is to help people. So I'll tell you a story of a client that was referred to us. Where we got to help them and it felt great. I have a client who we started to meet with. He was a business owner and we started to meet with him. We probably met with him for 3 or 4, probably about 8 months. And we were really organizing his financial world. And unfortunately, the client died in a snowmobile accident in his 50s. And that was really difficult. And I had not really worked with, although I had met his wife at some point. I heard stories about his 2 kids, but I hadn't really worked with his wife until that point. I met her in person for the first time at his wake. And look, there's probably not a worse time in the world for her than then. And then to put on top of that, the fact that now she really needs to learn about her finances and make sure that her and her sons are going to be okay. We were able to help them through that. And I know that she really appreciates what it is that we did for her in terms of organization, helping them move forward, making sure that they're okay. So all of those things are things that are really, really powerful. And to know that I have the opportunity to help someone who really needs it is a really great thing. And that was an introduction from someone in the EANYC. And there are 5 or 6 of those, maybe not as bad as that, but 5 or 6 of those cases where we have families or business owners who dysfunctional businesses, family wasn't getting along, things like that. And we've helped them sort of see the light and do things more efficiently. Those are really impactful for me because, again, my purpose is to help people and you're helping them at the time that they need it the most. And that's awesome. I love that.
One of the things that really stands out about you is your ability to stay in touch with people, especially your clients like me. You mentioned you have a very specific process. I'd love to know your process for preparing for the meetings, for the Executives Association meetings. And tell us more about this process, your philosophy of networking and relationship building and staying top of mind. It's pretty robust and pretty good. So I think people would benefit from knowing about it. Can you share how you prepare for the meetings and your philosophy in general?
So how I prepare for the EANYC meetings. So one way I prepare for the meetings is I wait for the email from Joe Affelbaum who tells me who the people are going to be at the meeting. So I always look at that and I always consider who I'd want to meet and who, there's a good fit one way or the other. Like I can help them or they can help me because we're there to help each other. So that's how I prepare for the meeting. But I think, and I've heard it a million times, and I think I've heard it from you as well, Joe, the magic happens after the meeting. So I make sure during the meeting, I take good notes on who I owe referrals to or who I need to make sure I reach out to contact, just to make sure that I keep up with the promises that I've made during the meeting. And then in between meetings, I stay in touch with a lot of the people in the organization. And that's no more, that's simple. I have a CRM, a contact management system, and the people who I need to stay in touch with have follow-ups. And what I'll do is I'll make sure that I live up to my follow-ups, whether it's giving them a call, shooting them an email or whatever, because life is relational. It's not transactional. And you can get transactions if you live up to your relational piece. And if you care about the people, you don't mind calling them anyway. So you call, you say hello, you wish them a happy holiday or whatever it is, but you stay in touch with them. And I think that that's really important. And if you're going to be in the organization, you really should give it your all. Because the only way EANYC is just like any other organization I've ever been a part of in this respect. you're going to get out of it what you put into it. You know, I've had conversations with people who aren't coming to the meeting and they're saying, well, I'm not really getting anything out of it. I'm like, of course not. You're not participating. In order to get things out of it, you have to participate. This is no different than anything else. So I make sure that I participate. It's that simple.
Okay, that's wonderful. So participating is important. And as you're participating, they say what you get in, what you put in is what you get out of it, or something like that. That's a famous saying. And you are definitely putting a lot of effort into Executives Association and making sure that you're involved in the board and you're preparing events and doing all types of incredible things. So thank you for your service and everything that you're doing for our community at large.
My pleasure.
What would you say is the surprising benefits that you get from EANYC that you wouldn't really imagine as somebody from the outside looking in, now that you're in it for 5 years at least? What would you say is like a plus benefit? You mentioned it also helps your business, but like, what are some benefits that you get?
A plus benefit that I get from EANYC is definitely the camaraderie. I didn't expect to develop the friends that I've developed in the organization. So there are people who I've gotten really close to. There are people who have gone through personal things. I've gone through personal things, and we're there for each other, and I really appreciate that.
And that is a powerful thing, like being there for each other when the time is needed, having people that are there for you, that really know you, like you, and trust you, not just for business, but also in personal and friendships and life. It's a really powerful thing to go through. What makes EANYC stand out from, like, say, Vistage or other communities that you're part of?
I think EANYC stands out because it's a real community. But there are other communities as well. Like Vistage, I am a Vistage member, and that's a community also, but on a smaller scale. So in my Vistage group, there's anywhere between 9 and 12 individuals. Here, there are 60 or 70 who you see on a regular basis and get to know and things like that. So I think that EANYC has a larger scale for me, which just means more great people.
And that's powerful, because instead of having a group of 8 to 10 people, you have a group of 80 people plus the guests that come on a regular basis that give you a ton of exposure. How would you say that your approach is when it comes to doing business that aligns with EANYC and the trust building versus some other people that are more transactional? How would you say your way of doing business is different?
So in terms of my way of doing business at EANYC, my business is a relational business. And I never approach it as transactional. There are people in my business who do approach it as transactional, but I really think it's relational. I think it's first, people want to know that you care before they care what you know. And that's really, really important. I was also thinking, I was thinking before about one of your other questions. I'm not sure where I was going with that. So we'll move on. And if I remember, I'll get back to it.
It's totally fine. Don't worry about that. When it comes to like networking and building relationships and getting to know people, what's one tip you can give people to be better at networking, especially people that are new to the game?
So in terms of how to be better at networking for most people, understand that networking is relational and not transactional. It's funny because I talk to, as an example, Tim Moran all the time. So Tim is someone I should be able to give a lot of business to, and I haven't given business to him enough. And I tell him that. But I'm actively looking because I care about him and he's a great guy. The advice that I would have in terms of how do you do this differently is, if you care about the people that you're giving business to and you really think in terms of when you're meeting with other people, how can I help them? It really will go a long way. And you need to, in this situation, you need to give before you get. And I really believe
that's what you mean. That's what you mean by the relationship part, is stop trying to come here to get stuff, but be in the spirit of giving. And then, eventually you're going to get stuff. Is that what relationship versus transaction means?
I think that's a lot of what it means. I never come to a meeting. I never come to a lunch saying, what am I going to get today? It's really, who can I help today? And then everything else takes care of itself, I think. In fact, I know that you moderate tables as well. There have been times where I always go last when I'm moderating a table. And there have been times where I haven't really gotten to go. It doesn't happen often, but once in a while we run out of time. And I'd much rather run out of time when I'm talking about my business than have somebody who's at the table run out of time talking about their business.
We need to give you a little moderator training so you make sure you don't run out at a time.
Maybe. That might be true. It doesn't happen that often, but once in a while, when they stick extra people at my table, sometimes it's hard to get through everybody.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, thank you for moderating, and thank you for everything that you do on the board, and thank you for this interview. Really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to say to somebody listening to this about you, about your business, about anything? Is there anything you want to share that maybe we didn't cover in this interview that you think would be helpful for someone to know about you?
Not really. The only thing that, there is one thing I'd like to share, because my category is financial consult. And what that means is that we have a proprietary process that we call Vantage Point that we take clients through that gives them clarity, confidence, and control over their financial world. So it's not about a microeconomic decision like, what do I invest in, or should I get this insurance or that insurance, or should my will be a certain way? It's really about the whole picture. And it starts with, what is the client trying to accomplish in the world? And then how can we help them get there more efficiently? So it's a comprehensive solution.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you for being here, and appreciate very much that you made it. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way to call you or email you?
The easiest thing to do is call me on my cell phone, 845-304-3772. My email address is mbrill, B-R-I-L-L, at Altium, A-L-T-I-U-M, wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H.com.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Mitch. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thank you. You got it. Bye-bye.
Ready to expand your opportunities? If you enjoyed this interview and would like to know more and be part of us, join a trusted circle of New York City's top industry leaders. Apply to join EANYC today.